Last week, the Portland Trailblazers were busy. I've seen some people say, "Oh, the Blazers are having a quiet offseason." I don't know, man. Trading for Deni Avdija when nobody saw that coming, and drafting Donovan Clingan, somebody most people had as like either the best or second best player on the draft. I'd say that's pretty active. What's been your general takeaway of that transaction period for the Blazers?
Yeah, it was like right when we got off the air, right? There was starting to be a little bit of rumblings about the Portland Trailblazers in the first round got going, and it was the Deni Avdija trade came through for the 14th pick and then a future first. There was a lot of negative reaction from fans. And it's always interesting to see the fan reaction as opposed to the reaction of people that either cover the NBA or cover a team specifically. And the fan reaction was, oh my God, who the hell is this? Why are you giving up 2 first-round picks for it? And there was a lot of correlation being made to, so this is the Dame trade at this point, right? Mm-hmm. You saw a lot of that. I look at Deni Avdija, and you look at the reaction from the Washington Wizards fans. You look at the members of the media that covered Washington. They're like, "Oh God, like that was one of our bright spots." Yeah. You're looking at a guy who has length, who can bounce between the 3 and the 4, who had his best career shooting from 3. He is a physical defender, and you talked about this earlier. The physicality of him, that was the thing that I was unfamiliar with. And then you just started looking at the rave reviews from people who covered the NBA and have covered the Washington Wizards and are sitting there going, no, he is actually coming into form. He's on a de-escalating contract, which is almost unheard of in the NBA for a young player with a tremendous upside.
It's the same kind of deal that Wendell Carter had. He'll obviously get a different deal going forward.
And everybody's like, well, you should have gotten Dalton Connect for him. He's younger than Dalton Connect. Like, they're technically the same age, but it's like he's a couple months younger.
He's a couple months older.
Or older? Older?
Somebody had that earlier, and I transposed the 2 dates. But they're 3 months apart.
Okay. And this is a guy who's played in the NBA.
And been productive already. You don't have questions
and is coming off of his best year where it was the year he played the most in the NBA. It was the first time that he got a bulk of starter minutes. He averaged, 30 minutes a game and shot 37.8% from 3.
Yeah, he was 14, 7, and 3 on 50, 37, 74 splits.
That, to me, is like, this is exactly what Portland should be doing. And they're like, but you gave up one of the picks you got in the Dame trade. There's 3 of them in that first round. Okay? And it's not your top pick. Yeah. It's the middle of your 3 picks. I think that, and of course, hindsight, people are going to go back, and if it doesn't work out and the Blazers, they'll tear it apart.
With Paul George trade,
but right now, you got an upgrade over anything that you were going to get at 14.
And you got to upgrade over anything you were going to get at 7. Like, I wanted them to take Cody Williams. Like, we talked about that going into that draft. I'm like, take the swing on the wing. That's what I wanted. And instead, they went and got a wing that they aren't necessarily taking a swing on. There's more upside, I think, with Deni. I've talked to the Blazers front office, and I've talked to other front offices about Deni, and damn near universally, like, yeah, we all think there's more to go. The question is the shooting for real? Because what happened last year, the reason his three-point percentage went up is because he shot the living hell out of the ball from the corners.
Yeah.
Shot 48% from the corners. There's going to be a drop down there. But I think that there's going to be probably some uptick in the above the break three-point percentage. The big thing for me is they got bigger, stronger, longer. They got a little nastier, but they got the thing that you and I have talked about ad nauseum. The rarest commodity in the entire NBA is playmaking with size. Deni Avdija is playmaking with size. And it was like, it's only 3.5 assists. I'm like, watch the guy play. He can actually attack the rim, bring rim pressure, create off the bounce on a live dribble, and find a pass. That is a real skill.
And when you're looking for guys, that was the biggest component that the Blazers, and this isn't to say like the results won't be immediate this year either, right? Because we know the direction of Portland right now. But how many times do we see Scoot come downhill last year, try to kick the ball out, and nothing was done with it, right? We saw that a lot last year. You're getting a guy that you can kick the ball out to, and he can be a playmaker, whether it's corner threes, and hopefully that shooting translates, or a guy that can take it off the dribble and create a little bit more space for everybody else. I'm okay. I was totally fine with it. And I also will go back to, you want a front office that'll put them on the table and they have faith in their process, right? Mike Schmitz, when he was drafted, when Deni Avdija was drafted, he tweeted out, as he was an employee for ESPN at the time, steal of the draft at 9.
And he went further in depth. He said at some point in time he thought that he had the potential to be the best player in that draft. And that is a draft that featured Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey.
Now, that has not come to fruition.
No.
But
it shows you how highly they think of him as a prospect. And he's still a prospect because he's 23.
I am okay with this team making risks, with putting him on the table and in gunning for something down the road, because that was something that was sorely missed during the prime of Damian Lillard. And there was a reluctance to go down that road. And is there risk involved? Absolutely there is. Absolutely there is. But I will go back to look at what we saw last year, right? Wins and loss wise. Are we going, they're trying to take a swing to improve this team in 2025, right? That's what the main goal is. Use this year to develop some of your younger pieces, get familiarity with guys like Avdija and Klingon who are coming in.
Bottom out and hope you get one of those top 3 guys.
And then you can move forward with a young core that you have for multiple years too, which is, I don't see that as a bad thing. But there's a lot of people with really adverse reactions to it. I was okay with, I'm not like over the moon with it. I'm not like, yeah, this is going to be the piece, because there's so many pieces away.
No.
But in a draft where I think everybody, when we predicted this months ago, in a draft that was considered one of the weakest in recent memory, okay, the Blazers had 2 first-round picks, and all of a sudden there's a facet of the fan base that wanted to be like, no, we could have gotten something better at 14. No, you actually have a known. And the known is that there's people in Washington that are going, man, this one kind of hurts, because we started to see an uptick in his production that we were all hoping for. And now he's gone. But Washington is in a place where they're down to the studs too. And they wanted more draft capital. And they got it. I'm all right with all of it.
I like where they ended up with this. So
you called it A+ right when it happened. And look,
I made my feelings known.
Yeah.
Avdija is a guy that I really like and have liked, and I did not think he would be available at that price.
Yeah.
What I have heard back is that people were surprised that, number one, he was available. Then that as much as people like, oh, is it overpay? Most people said that they thought it would cost more than that to get him.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. And I'm glad that as more information is coming out, it seems like the fan base is calming down a little bit about the trade. And I think Portland fans are going to love him when he comes and he starts playing basketball here, because that's what Blazer fans do, right? You irrationally fall in love with a guy, and this will be another case of that. It's going to be fun.
Come on. He hasn't even put on a jersey yet, and he's already a Portland legend.
That's right. That's how we'll do.